I would like to ask Dror to come on stage. And I guess the reason for Dror being in this room and not in the other room is he kind of had his exit. And I don't want to talk about exits because he has done this last year. I want to talk with Dror about two things. One, oh, you already have a microphone? Yeah. So that's kind of double then, no? Don't. Oh, there we have one. Ha! So, Arnon, please come on stage. No, I would like, this conference, this year, we have a lot about Israel again, and it's not a surprise that we have a lot of tech people here and providing technology solutions, but what we also wanted to do this year, we wanted to talk about what we can learn from Israel. And the first thing I learned, actually from the gentleman who spoke before, when I asked him, why are there not like multi-billion-dollar Israeli companies? Are you guys selling too early? He said, Marco, you don't understand. We are not selling tomatoes, we are selling tomato seeds. That was what Yossi Vadi said. And let's have a bit of a chat around, entrepreneurship in Israel. And we have two Israel panels, by the way. Today, we're talking about the entrepreneurs. And tomorrow, we're talking with investors. So here you have two typical entrepreneurs. Arnon, Dror, please take a few sentences to introduce yourself.
Did you start?
I'll try. Well, I'm not sure there is a typical entrepreneur. Let's start with that. I think each of one of us is a little bit different. And
did you go to the army?
Yeah, of course.
So every entrepreneur I met in Israel typically learned to program and code when they were 4 years old. And then in the army, they became program coder of the month. And they told me that they were the best in their unit. So you also went to the army. So typically, you go to the army. But continue, please.
All right. Typically, we go to the army, although I never write even a single line of code. I have no idea about coding. But I think I started my way as an entrepreneur when I realized that I cannot handle any other job. I was fired from one job and another job, and then I realized, well, I have to start everything by myself. So maybe this is
That's
one
like
of
me. I had to become an entrepreneur when Lehman Brothers went bankrupt.
So
what did you do?
Nobody asked us if we want to be entrepreneur. We are forced to become an entrepreneur, I think.
Have you ever worked in your life?
I tried very hard, but I realized it's not my
Okay, Arnon, what was your big achievement as an entrepreneur? Talk about your background.
Well, money-wise, we talk with bankers. I took my company public 2005 here at the AIM for a valuation of £600 million. I think that's a financial achievement. But I am not sure this is the most important one. I think the real achievement for myself is to be able to create something from scratch that people need, to create value that the people all over the world can use and enjoy.
To build things. Dror, when I met you actually at DLD Munich a few years ago, I was even less sophisticated than today, which is very scary. I asked you what your business is, and you explained it, and I tried to understand it, and it was about we are developing apps for bloggers. I guess today I said a little bit better, but use a few words to talk about your background, please.
So we met when I started with my co-founders a company called Wibiya, which was to integrate different kinds of apps and functionality into websites. And when we met, it was just starting. Last year, we were acquired by another Israeli company called Conduit, which is the biggest internet company in Israel at the moment. And that's how I started. Like that's how we.
So now you work as an entrepreneur for, you said, the largest Israeli internet company. And for you who do not know Conduit, they are the guys who really created an industry around desktop app applications, I should call it, because the founder of that company, if I would use the word starting with a T, I would get in trouble. So interestingly, as an entrepreneur, you joined a larger group, and maybe I ask one question to you, Dror. When you sold your business, which was pretty much after 2 years, roughly?
3 years.
3 years.
Yeah.
And the price was rumored around, I think, $40–50 million. Were you expecting the work environment to be the way it is? Do you enjoy your job working for a large company in Israel?
So when we got into Conduit, we didn't know exactly what to expect. We were also negotiating with 2 other companies that were in the US. And it was really important for us to continue what we're doing as a small group, even within a big company. So we can actually, save the spirit and continue with our very high ambition that we had. So we were looking forward to it, and in one of the talks, the early talks we had with the founders of Conduit, we saw that we shared the same vision, actually, towards the future. And they were actually really looking for us to continue what we're doing as a group or a division within Conduit that we're...
Interesting. So continuing with the theme of the discussions earlier, passion matters a lot. So as long as your passion is allowed to stay on, you are okay to trade getting rich with independence?
Passion is a key factor for anything. I think anything you do in life, if you don't have passion, it won't succeed. It's like, I think in Israel there's a very strong feeling of innovate or die when you have companies. If you don't innovate what you do, eventually it will just drift away, and you'll end up with a company that's, you could say, the living dead. It doesn't grow that much. And that's a really important thing. If you look at Israel today, we have the third highest rate of entrepreneurship in the world, and the highest rate in women and people over 55. So it's really impressive that a lot of people have that passion you're talking about to start companies.
Okay. So Arnon, there's a lot of stuff we can learn from Israel when it comes to entrepreneurship and passion. But there are also certain things we believe the Israel entrepreneur can learn from a German or English or French or whatever kind of entrepreneur. And I think Yossi also mentioned it, that you guys are not that great in sales. What is your perspective on that? And opening offices in the US versus opening offices in Europe, when you look at the typical, and I know we don't like the word typical, but the typical Israeli company, how do you think you can take it from a 40–50 million business to a 501 billion business?
Well, Israel, it's a small country, so we have this kind of culture that we try to do everything by ourselves. Because when you operate in a small market, you have to provide the full service to your clients. And we have to adjust ourselves to a different point of view. When we work on the internet and we're talking about big markets, we have to finalize what is the best thing that we can provide to the business. And from that point, we have to let others to enjoy the business that we create. So for me, for example, I like the business when it's small, and I know personally the people, and we work with passion and enthusiasm. And when the business is more structured, I think there is a space for other companies to buy it and to develop it to a different scale. I don't think we are expert to building business in the large scale like we see in America. And it's not a bad word just to sell it and maybe to start something new, because that's what I like to do.
I think it's also, it's part of our DNA, and I agree completely that we also have kind of an economy of an island. Because
economy of what?
Of an island. We're not an island, but we're surrounded by different countries that our relationship is not the best. So if you look at what we're doing, we're very good at building technology and very good in building, infrastructure and services, but we're pretty far away from the global consumers. Even from the US or Europe, it's not an hour flight, half an hour flight, or just a drive. We need to take a 4
It's like a 2–3 day journey to get from Tel Aviv to San Francisco, right?
If you swim a lot, yeah.
Why did you, I was amazed with Arnon's background, who founded a company, IPO'd it in London for £600 million. Do you see yourself as an exception? Did you ever look at I mean, I think it was in the online gambling industry, so maybe the US IPO opportunity wasn't there, but have you looked at other exit opportunities? And looking back, how do you feel about the story?
Well, I think we mapped the opportunity at the time, and that was the best thing to do. But when we started this business, we haven't thought about this as an option. We just wanted to bring a great value to our clients. We were 888 and Party Poker. We did the marketing for them, and that's what we were focused about. It was not, we didn't have at the beginning any exit strategy. The strategy was to create a good business.
Have you done angel investments recently?
I haven't, no.
Or have you?
No, we're focusing on our ambitions in Conduit.
Are Israeli entrepreneurs also good angel investors, you think?
They definitely go to angel investors, and there's quite a lot of angel investors in Israel at the moment, because what happens is, you can see also happening in the Valley, you have quite a few people that do exits, and suddenly they gain more money, and these people, they believe in the system because it worked for them.
So they're giving back?
Yeah, so it's kind of like paying it forward as well as it worked for them, so they see it working for other people, and that's what they're good at, so they're giving away all their abilities to these other companies.
Arnon, how important for you is, we discussed it earlier today with Klaus Hommels at 8:30, serial entrepreneurs, kind of, people do it over and over again versus the one-off. I guess in Israel, giving the long track record of tech innovation, you have lots of people who have done it over and over again.
Well, statistically, we cannot prove that serial entrepreneurship it's a good strategy. Not many entrepreneurs manage to repeat their success again and again. On the other hand, when it comes to a personal level, I realize that I'm not going to be an investor because it's not my nature. I'm not that kind of a creature. I'm an entrepreneur, and probably that's what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. And when we talk about passion, it doesn't matter if I'm going to make it again or not. This is my nature. That's what I'm going to do. That's what I like to do. I like to work with a small group of people, to learn from them, to learn from me. And if success will come, it's great. But if not, it's still, we're doing what we like. So it's okay.
So we have two accomplished entrepreneurs on stage. Let's ask them for advice. Dror, you're talking to a European audience. What can we learn from your experience in Israel? What would you like to pass on?
So first, come to Israel. There's a lot of opportunities there. I would say the first thing.
Opportunities to invest, to learn,
also,
to have fun.
A lot. There's
hummus.
Hummus for sure. A very good place for hummus. But definitely to invest. There's a lot of the community in Israel is very lush, I would say. For every 1,800 Israelis, there's a startup, which is a lot. And I would say, like, the advice I would give is try the Israeli chutzpah. I don't know how many of you know the word chutzpah. It's a Yiddish word. It's that feeling that
does not exist in any other language, by the way.
Yeah, it's even hard to explain what it is, but it's just go out there, say what you think, push yourself into different places.
Is it like the Nike slogan, just do it?
Yes, it's the Yiddish version of just do it, I guess.
Okay. Arnon, what's your message to the audience?
Well, a little bit similar. First of all, you can jump to the water without checking if there are any water out there. It's a bit dangerous, but it can be fun as well, and you will learn a lot of things. So yeah, take the risk and do whatever you like, with passion and with love. So,
from the NOAH perspective, I mean, you have two brave, accomplished, successful entrepreneurs on stage. But my lesson learned working with Israel businesses is, technology is great and super ideas, good presenters, but it's a lot of fun. And that's at least one reason to travel to Tel Aviv and check it out. Well, thank you very much, guys. I hope you enjoy your far travel. On the way to San Francisco, probably.
Thank you, Marga.
Thank you.